Well, here's a quick recap. April 1st, the MV Hondius, this is an older ship, departs from South America. It must have had mice or rats on board. They carried the hantavirus. This is the virus that's gotten people sick. It wasn't tracked in on somebody's shoes when they went on an excursion. The virus only lives outside the rodent for about 2 to 3 days. It dries in excrement or urine, and it gets into the air. It gets recirculated. What was happening on this ship is that the rat dust was being recirculated in the ventilatory systems, and people were breathing it when they were in their cabins. So they depart on April 1st. The first man dies on April 11th. And then the rats were probably close in the wall to their cabin. His wife gets sick. She later on dies. Now there's a total of 3 deaths. And what made things much worse is the WHO stepped in. Jack, they should have evacuated the ship immediately, weeks ago, and then decontaminated the ship. They should have get people away from the source of the infection. But what did they do? The WHO locked people in their cabins and made them sicker.
And so you get put. How do they have the authority to do this? This is a ship at sea, or a ship that they can't put it on a port. The WHO comes in, and what do we see? Just like during COVID, all of a sudden, all the authorities just hand over their power, hand over their ability to make decisions to the WHO.
Well, in fact, Tedros Ghebreyesus, leader of the WHO, said this is a new test of their global powers. So they actually came on board and took over, and they did all the wrong things. The people should have been out of their cabins up on the deck so they can no longer be exposed to the virus. They should have been evacuated immediately. WHO puts 2 epidemiologists on. They lock people down. Then when they finally get off at Tenerife in the Canary Islands, what they do is then they put the people on hazmat suits, and then they're hosing them down in this big theatrical display. I mean, everything in this has been done incorrectly. The virus doesn't spread from person to person. That's a false claim, and that's been cleared up. There's a paper by Toledo and colleagues in the Journal of the Infectious Diseases Society of America that has essentially disproven any person-to-person spread. It spread from dust in the air that gets contaminated by rodents. That's how it spreads. Remember, Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, she died that way. And Gene Hackman later on dies. He has dementia. This is in Santa Fe. You know, when they went to Hackman's house, they found rodent droppings and mice and rats everywhere. That's what's the source of the infection.